So, friends, welcome to one more beautiful interview with an amazing guest. She has been working for last 40 years in regression therapy, mind body connection, in that her favorite is psychosomatic, and that's the root of all our emotions and all our illnesses, sometimes traumatic death and sometimes connections from this life. So here I'll introduce Maria Angelina Pereira. Welcome, Maria.
Thank
Welcome to
you.
Estafet.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful for the invitation.
Maria, you work lot in the mind, body, emotions, and the connection of psychosomatic. What is the beauty of this field and this specialty in this regression field which you have chosen?
What's the beauty? I think I've always been fascinated by the mind. Um, and I think I came to psychiatry because of the mind and body. Because since I was very young, I wanted to be a doctor. But in my adolescent, I was about 13, 14. I went to a medical clinic with my mother. She had an appointment. And I saw a lady coming in, and I looked at her, and she was only bones. And I I approached the nurses discreetly because they were speaking about her, and I overheard her case, and I overheard her story. She was a young, beautiful lady that was going to be married, and she went to fit the dress, and the lady that was selling, the sales lady, told her, if you had a few kilos less, this dress on you would look absolutely gorgeous. And this lady went home and locked herself in her room and didn't eat. This lady never left her room anymore. She never
Hmm.
married, and they were commenting that she was going to die. She was in a terminal state because there was nothing no one could do for her. That was the first case I saw of anorexia nervosa,
Oh
which
my
at
God.
the time
Hmm.
was just being spoken about. This was
Hmm.
quite a bit of time ago. I was very young at the time. So if I really think about it, maybe the connection started there because
Hmm.
after that, I wanted to become a psychiatrist and I went to medicine to become a psychiatrist. I think psychosomatics, the body, the mind and the body were my first points of interest anyway.
And as a 13, 14-year old, when you had taken that decision, there must be some shift while seeing that lady. What is that? What is that ignited you?
Before that, I was already fascinated because I used to listen a lot to people speaking about their lives. And I was already fascinated how people spoke about their lives, how they thought, and how their thought regulated what they felt. And some people were really miserable when they had everything in their life to be happy, and they weren't. So I was already fascinated with that. When I heard the story, I thought, what le- what makes someone that is going to be married, so she's at the height of happiness, go into a, a hole this big, you know? That was a big question for me. So it started there. Yeah.
Maybe you had so many past life connected to it, where you have already learned it. That's why little girl was already fascinated. Have you
Maybe.
seen some of your past life in this field?
Yes, I have. Um, yes, I have. But I think that this life already leads us to where we go. So I had also had some contact with the medical field, and I think that influenced me to want to become a doctor. And then there were other conditioning characteristics, maybe that led me to be interested and to go into this field. But you don't have to look at another life for that. This life many times is is it. It's enough.
Really nice. When Anita introduced you, she told me to ask you a question that you are a psychiatrist, you are a doctor, and you are a regression therapist. So when you meet a client, how do you blend two? Do you do it individually, a session for this and session for that, or you combine the knowledge with your medical profession and regression?
I'm a psychiatrist and a psychotherapist, which is important. So when I see somebody, I am seeing the person as a whole, and I work as a person in one field. I am a medical doctor, and maybe there are some challenges in the sense that I have to explain things very well in scientific terms, but people are interested in results, and the way I work lead people to get results. And so I've never had any problems. I remember I hadn't finished my specialization in psychiatry, and I was already studying hypnosis. So when I became a psychiatrist, I was already working with hypnosis. And I remember at the hospital, a public hospital, my colleagues, when they had cases that were very difficult, they asked me to do the psychotherapy with them, and they knew I was using hypnosis. So you just need the conditions, and many times a public hospital does not have the conditions for you to work, because to see a patient and do psychotherapy, you need at least an hour, and an hour is short, so at least an hour. And in the hospital, you do not have that time, so it's more difficult. But I've always integrated everything I could in terms of psychiatric treatment and psychotherapy, because I have patients just in psychotherapy that do not do medication, but I have patients who do medication and do psychotherapy.
And you conduct lot many workshops.
I do some workshops. I'm restarting, so to say, this year. I did a year here of, I stopped for a year because I had to put some of these things a little bit more paced. I was with too many things on my table. So I'm restarting all the workshops again, and I will be restarting the post-graduation in the university again. But yes, I've always done quite a bit of teaching.
So tell me something about your recent workshop or the upcoming workshop.
The last workshop was this Saturday, and it was on the genogram. What is the genogram? The genogram is the family map. It's like a genealogy map, except that it's got a lot more details of the functioning of the family, and the emotional ties of the family, the events. So it's called the genogram, because my work is based on a systemic perspective and a psychodynamic perspective. And when I see a patient for the first time, the first thing I do is a genogram. And I do it in front of the patient so that the person is answering the questions. Many times when a person comes, they are very nervous. And so usually I say, look, can I ask you a few questions just to get to know you a little bit better? And the person says, yes. And so I start, and I usually ask the name, age. And then they see me drawing their map, their family map. And I'm asking the questions, and they are looking to what I'm doing. And they are starting to understand things that they had never thought about before. So
Lovely.
you get the person involved immediately in understanding that she's part of a larger picture. And so I'm using immediately a systemic perspective and making her realize that she's not alone. She's got a family around her. I usually do 3 generations. That's the minimum with um, the amount of generations you should put on a genogram. And the person starts becoming aware that there are things in the family that are repeating, and maybe that what she has or the symptom she brings is already something that her mother had, or maybe her grandmother had. And so, in the first 15 minutes, the person relaxes completely and starts becoming aware that what is bringing her to the appointment, maybe has got here other ties to family members and to family patterns. So,
And that creates a bond also with you as a therapist.
oh yes, that is the I don't have to do a lot of effort because the person is speaking, and maybe for the first time somebody is asking her questions that she's never spoken about before. So this was my workshop on Saturday for therapists. I only do this for psychologists and therapists. So that was the workshop I had on a Saturday. Yes, but I do workshops in on the genogram, on trauma, and on grief.
Maria, you had done one very lovely workshop at World Congress last year, Barlow. It was about traumatic death and the illness.
Yes, transgenerational trauma. It's also got to do with the genogram. Like I was saying, many times you've got trauma in the family, and trauma is one of the fields I like very much as well. Um, and many times illnesses are related, especially inherited illnesses, are related to trauma in generations um, of the family that are then transgenerational. There is a lot of research already out on transgenerational trauma. So there is evidence that trauma in the family can cause more illnesses in generations to come. And they studied this with groups of people that were subjected um, to traumatic experiences, either in nature or in war. And they found that the generations, 2 or 3 generations after, that population had much more illnesses than the normal population. And when we say much more, we are speaking about 2 or 3 times more. So there's no coincidence here.
And how do you connect in your workshop these genogram with the regression for the solution of these illnesses when you find that connection?
Even though I do the genogram, and even though I take a very good history, which is essential for me, because that is my medical foundation. Many times when I do the regression therapy, I take the person in a modified state of consciousness. I don't say regression because I can say regression, and most people associate it to past lives. Regression is not only past lives. Regression is just going back in time, and it can be just 2 or 3 years, but it can be to infancy, it can be to the womb, wherever it takes you. So when I put a person in a modified state of consciousness, I let her lead the way, and symbolically, of course, she takes, or her unconscious mind takes her to the place which she needs to work on in that at that time. So I don't even need all the information I get to work with it. Oh, but I'm not only doing one session or two, I'm doing a psychotherapy. So I need a structure. And I need to take her from the symptom to another position, so to say, in which she is much more aware of herself, in which she uses her resources, her or his, her resources, and in which the person is more structured. So I also need a structure to take her from one point to another. That's a psychotherapy. That's why I also need this information in the beginning. I wouldn't need it if I was only going to do a session of modified state of consciousness. I wouldn't need it.
When you see with your clients various illnesses, do you see any connection with any particular disease that, if you draw a stats that this particular disease has this kind of background? Does it come like that, or every client comes out with a different background to it?
Mm, let me try and explain this in simple terms. Most of the diseases have a symbolic presentation that is similar, but we have a lot of individual variability. Okay? It's not simple and it's not direct. For example, let me give you an example. If I have a disease of the blood, like leukemia, which is a cancer of the blood, if I have a disease of the blood, what will this be? What will this disease be telling me? That I have a family problem here. This person is reacting to a family question, to a family situation. Most of the time, in which she feels that there is loss. Let me give you an example of a clinical case. I had a lady that came in and she was with blood cancer. And when I put her in a modified state of conscience, so when I did therapy with her, she went back to the moment in which her son, and she had an only son, went away to university. And she felt that as a loss. To her, it was if she had lost that person. And if we look at her life up to that point in which he was at home, he was, let's say, the only objective of her life. So when you lose the objective of your life, and he was her son, she lost everything. And cancer, for example, is already a manifestation of a deep sadness. So you've got blood and you've got the cancer. And so you've already got two elements that are giving you clues to where the problem may be. But then you've got this individual variability in which you take the person there and they will tell you because the person knows. The person always knows what is the cause. She may not have it, she may not be aware of it, it may not be conscious, but it's there and she can go there.
That's an amazing, amazing perspective to it.
Yes, it's a fascinating work because I feel many times like a detective.
So you are a doctor, you are a detective, and you're a psychotherapist, and a teacher as well.
Yes, I also like teaching very much. Yes.
So many roles in one. Maria, tell me something more about a case, maybe, which is very close to your heart, where you find that the success which you received through this work has been very satisfying for you. Many cases would be there, but what comes on the forefront right now?
And I have so many cases, and some, and most of them teach me a lot of things. Some teach me a lot. Um, and comes to mind that two cases. I had a lady that came in, and she was about 60 to 70 years old. And when she came to the appointment, she said, I practically don't see anymore. People have to help me at home. I can't even do the things at home because she had this blinking thing about her eyes that were always blinking, and she couldn't stop it. I can't tell you the name in English at the moment. And she had been to a lot of doctors, eye specialists, and she came because somebody told her that she would not find the solution there, that she would need to go probably to a psychiatrist. But she had been to other psychiatrists, but it hadn't helped. So she came, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? This lady, she did not have much schooling. She was an older lady. When people are older, so I thought at the time, they don't like change very much. And I thought, okay. And I said, okay, you know, um, there are things we can do. I will have to give you medication because you need it. Your anxiety is very, very high. You are very sad at the moment, and it's natural. But we're going to need to medicate that to give you some results faster. But the other strategies I use will be difficult for you. And she said, just tell me what they are. I'll do everything you tell me. And I said, I don't know if you will be able to, because, for example, I would need you to exercise every day. And exercise is just take a walk every day. She says, no problem. I'll get my husband to walk with me. Um, the second one is I usually give a book for people to read to start thinking and become aware of themselves. And she says, no problem. My husband will read to me. And I said, okay, okay, let's see how this goes. When she came back, she became much better. And I started working with her in therapy. I can tell you that after a year, she was back driving. After a few months, she lost her husband. He was already ill. And I thought, oh, this is going to be shaking her up. But no, because when she came back after maybe another year, she says, my children are worried about me. And I thought, whoa, what's going on? I said, why? And she says, well, they say I'm going out too much. And I said, you're going out? Out where? Oh, I go with my friends. I do this, I do that. And I said, okay, let them be worried about you. It's time for them to worry about you. You do your thing. And I told her, you are free to go. Finished. She was off medication already and she was free. And that was a case that really taught me a lot. Don't judge or prejudge the results of the patient or where the patient can get. People really surprise you. Um,
She walked into a new life.
she walked into a new life, yes, much more aware, and in which she really enjoyed after. In the
Yes.
case of the young girl, she had finished university. She started working, but she was missing out on work a lot. What she brought was every time I go and it's raining, I really become very, very sad. And then I can't go back to work for a few days because it really makes me very sad. And I thought, okay. I took her history, and we started therapy. And in the first session she went back to when she was a little girl, about 2 or 3,
Mm-hmm.
and she started by crying in the session, saying, "Mummy doesn't love me anymore."
Mm.
Okay. I said, okay, go back a little bit in time, just a little bit. See yourself waking up in the morning that morning, and let's see what happens. And she was all happy. They were going to a party, and Mummy had bought her a new dress, and Mummy was dressing her, and she was looking beautiful. And then Mummy told her, just sit here for a little few minutes while I go and get dressed. Mummy wasn't very thoughtful. Just sit here for a few minutes. And of course, the little girl maybe sat down for a few seconds and then got up and saw a basin with some water.
Mm-hmm.
And what she did, she put her hands into the basin. And so she got her sleeves wet. And when Mummy came out of the room, all looking beautiful as well, she looked at her daughter, and her daughter had her sleeves wet.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have another new dress for her. And so Mummy was furious. And that's when she said, Mummy doesn't love me anymore. And so what did we understand? The simple fact that her sleeves got wet, she associated at that time to Mummy doesn't love me anymore.
Mm.
And so every time it rained and she was with an umbrella and the sleeves got wet,
Oh,
she
yes.
associated to Mummy doesn't love me anymore. It was an amazing experience. But of course, we also had to then deal with a lot of years in which she became more and more dependent on her mother, and
Yeah.
leaving home was very difficult. So we had to deal with all of that because then one event has consequences, even in the growing personality, in the way people deal with life and deal with situations.
And that is the beauty of regression therapy.
Yes, that is.
And that is the beauty of your work.
Yes, I love my work. Yes.
Maria, usually I ask that what is your message for the regression therapist, the fellow regression therapist? But before that, I will ask you, what is your message for psychiatrist?
Um, to look at the whole person and not
Mm,
only to the symptom. Um, but I understand that most of the psychiatrists that work in hospitals do not have the time to look at the whole. Medication is important, but it will not solve the cause. And psychiatrists and doctors need to look more to the cause of the symptom. Working in a systemic perspective makes you realize that every one of us is part of a system and we act and react to other elements in the system. No one is an island. That would be my message. Yes,
no one is an island, yes.
we are interconnected. That is the systemic perspective. We are part of a system, smaller and larger and larger and larger.
Lovely. And what is your message for the regression therapist, especially the beginners?
For regression therapists, my message would be something that is also important to me, which is that everyone should do their own work, become aware of who they are and what their situations need to be solved. Otherwise, working with other people, any therapist may enter into resonance and may become ill. And many times I see therapists becoming ill. As I, at the moment, we are seeing doctors more and more becoming ill and nurses because there is very little individual work on themselves. People need to become more aware, and therapists have the responsibility to become more aware for themselves and for the others.
And Maria, what is your message Earth Association for Regression Therapy?
I'm one of the founding members. And I was invited by Hans, um, and he's a reference for me too. So, yes, I'm very proud to be part of Earth and a founding member of Earth. To Earth, I would, my message would be to keep a high quality and incentivize every member to study more, to um, how would I put this? Um, to be more and more professional in what they do. So to take regression therapy even further.
Because you have seen Earth being born, you have seen Earth Association taking baby step and growing up. How
Yes,
do you feel this journey as a founder member of Earth Association?
there have been phases, like in all the growing up. I think we are uh, coming into an adult age in Earth. So we, we, Earth is going to have to um, go into the phase of adults and spread seeds in the way of having children. Okay. In that sense, yes, I think that will be an evolution and getting regression therapy to another stage.
Thank you so much, Maria. It has been lovely talking to you. We are nearing the end phase. I will request you to recommend who is next.
Oh, Anna, Anna O'Brien, she works with regression therapy and she has a very unique style as well. And she is also very aware of her own evolution and her own therapy. And so I would recommend her.
Thank you. And what will be your question to her? What do you recommend that we should ask her about her work or
That is difficult. Um, that is difficult. What would I ask her? What were her sources of information? I think that would be interesting.
thank you so much.
It is
I
my
enjoyed
pleasure.
talking to you and so much to learn, especially from those cases, the way you described it. Sometimes, especially in the beginning, when we are working, our mind starts running faster that I know it. And then you realize that judging that also we have to overcome. That was very, very beautiful. In fact, that case itself has a message for all the regression therapists.
That's why it is very important to understand that each person is each person, and that's the variability and the surprise element. So,
Yes.
no preconceived ideas is very good, and just let the patient express because we will always be surprised.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
dear viewers, I hope you are also very surprised with all the techniques, the cases, how it works, how it brings the solutions. Even as a therapist, we need to work on our own self because at the end, we are also somewhere have our own journey, blending it together client in me, student in me, and therapist in me. How to work. Today we learn from Maria. Thank you so much, Maria. Lots of love to you
Thank,
and all the best.
thank you very much. You put that very beautifully. Thank you very much.
Love you.